I was cooking a burger when I spotted it, a spool of charging cord making its way through my yard like a stealth thief with clearance. There she was, Diane, queen of the HOA in her own mind, jacking up her electric vehicle to my backyard outlet like a free gas pump. No question, no regret, just sheer entitlement. It wasn't the first time she did this, but this time, with my burger halfway cooked, I'm standing there, counting how many nights she drained my electricity while I was asleep. That's when I decided, no more being the good neighbor. I moved to this quiet edge of the HOA land 3 years ago, trading city noise for garden room and calm air, not to babysit grown adults who treat private outlets like public Wi-Fi. But Diane was in a category of her own. Her three-car garage, rooftop solar setup, and a sign in the yard blaring, "Green today, thrive tomorrow," all screamed eco-champion. Yet every few mornings I'd spot her sleek EV nestled at the edge of my driveway, its cable snaking over my fence, stealing my power like a vampire in luxury shades. It started subtly, my electric bill through the roof, and I sleepily wondered if my back workshop wiring was to fault. Then my breaker out back began humming strangely, and my standby battery drained power at an increased than usual rate. I simply thought perhaps my hedge trimmer had been just a little too hungry. But one early morning, peering out my window, I saw her in action. She stared straight at me, smiled as if we were neighbors sharing recipes, and mouthed, "Just a quick charge." I almost choked on my coffee. Barefoot, mug still in hand, I went outside and pulled her cord. Diane gasped as if I'd ripped out her lifeline. She stormed over in yoga pants, phone up recording, and started to rage about community spirit and how I was ruining the planet. She said I should have shown up in front of her like an adult if I had a problem. Clutching my cord like a dead snake, I said to her, "This is my outlet, my power. Next time it's locked." She growled she'd get me in front of the HOA board, and that she was, conveniently, vice chair. I told her I had trail cam photos and receipts. I had put up a stray cat wildlife camera, but it photographed her running through my bushes a dozen times, creeping along with that cord trailing behind her like a haughty little spy wearing a stylish coat. I didn't bother to intercept her at first. I wanted proof. For days I documented it, double-checked timestamp, estimated power draw of her car, tallied the pilferage. In 30 days, $1,250. This wasn't borrowing, this was a robbery. I printed out a bill, marked it unauthorized electricity usage, and slid it into her mailbox along with a simulated payment schedule. Later that night, she knocked at my door, face red, waving the bill as if I'd summoned her name. She yelled extortion and promised to report me for harassment. I invited her to watch the tape. She stormed away, promising legal action. A week later, I got a letter from the HOA complaining of unauthorized alterations because of my cameras and requesting that I stop intimidating homeowners. Signed, of course, by Diane. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe it. So instead of being angry, I got creative. If Diane loved my outlet that much, I'd give her one to love. I built a decoy outlet, a fake unit, painted to match my siding, with a good click but no wires inside. I hid a GoPro and a planter on the fence to record all. Next morning, as forecast, she came back, plugged in, checked her phone, and pranced off, unaware her app was fooling her face. From my kitchen, I watched her battery not move. For days, she kept coming back. Baffled, she swapped cables, jiggled the plug, even asked if my power was out. I grinned. "Nope, all good here." Her glare was a masterpiece. The satisfaction wasn't just about protecting my outlet. It was outwitting a bully who thought her HOA badge put her above the law. The following day, after she first fell for the hook, I caught her next to her SUV, arms crossed, tapping on her phone as if it owed her a response. Her app flashed error messages. She paced. She continued to stare in the direction of my home as if I'd just toggled some magic switch. I had tea and let her sit. That night, the GoPro captured her frustration, inserting, withdrawing, slamming the car door, and taking off with a near-dead battery. I put the video into a new file, Juice Bandit Saga. I knew this was not going to end. Diane did not handle defeat well. Sure enough, there was a fat envelope. HOA letterhead. Diane now claimed I destroyed her car charger through hazardous tampering and needed to cover the repairs and cease violating the spirit of the community. I laughed, then made my case. Trespassing videos, power use spikes, photos of her SUV breaching my yard, and photos of her go green social posts sinking in hypocrisy. At the next HOA meeting, the clubhouse was buzzing. Diane sat in the front row, smug. Her husband bobbleheaded in agreement. President Tom, retired model train aficionado, called the meeting to order. Diane spun a victimhood tale, saying I destroyed her charger. Her husband chimed in, saying the socket ruined it. When it was my turn, I put it all out. Plain and cool. Power theft videos, a $250 spike in power bill, and late-night videos of Diane sneaking around like she was starring in a spy thriller. The room went quiet. I ended with a photo of her green preachy post, asking how power theft was part of her morals. Tom, his jaw clenched. Ellen, board member and electrician, asked if Diane had sought permission. Diane complained something about shared resources. Ellen laughed. No such rule. Another neighbor spoke up, mentioned Diane's SUV had parked by their garage, too. Murmurs of displeasure made the rounds. It wasn't just me. Tom declared a recess. Diane scowled at me as she walked by. Her husband spat threats. At break time, Tom dismissed Diane's grievance and imposed new fines for misuse of property. Then he issued Diane a suspension letter. Vice Chair, no more. She stormed off, face flushed, her husband in tow. Ellen gave me a high five. Best meeting ever, she said. Diane went dark for days. SUV gone, social media silent. I checked my cameras every evening. The decoy was left alone, but I knew she wasn't done. Then a letter slipped under my door, scribbled in crazy ink. No apology, threats only. Accused sabotage and demanded $5,000 for emotional distress. I shredded it, laughing. Her EV hadn't charged in weeks. She was ghost hunting, so I doubled down. Built a second fake outlet, one with a winking LED. At dusk, she fell for it again. Plugged in. Her app flashed fiction, whacked the socket and drove off in disarray. Her rage turned into performance art. On the web, she posted a rant about EV tampering, pleading with the HOA for a paid charging station. It backfired, horribly. Neighbors dragged her. Someone made a meme, a lifeless plug with the title, Diane's Dream. It went viral. A neighborhood blog followed up on the story. Neighbor outsmarts HOA power thief. My video of Diane's decoy experiments dominated. She was a joke in our neighborhood. Her eco-crusade exposed as pure selfishness. She put up a green energy booth in her front yard, selling flyers about power bullies. Nobody bit. Someone uploaded a picture. Desperate Housewives, Suburb Edition. The HOA was fed up. A second meeting was called. It turned out Diane had also canvassed 4 other homes. Her justification? A rambling appeal on behalf of the planet. It didn't work. The board kept her out of meetings. There was a full audit that followed. Diane left, embarrassed, her authority brought to ashes. I had motion-activated sprinklers placed along the fence, meant to drench intruders. One morning at 1 a.m., they soaked her as she reached for the decoy. Her scream was heard. She fled, leaving behind her cord in the lawn. She grumbled once more, this time over landscaping violations. I presented evidence again. My property, my tape, her getting drenched. HOA shelved it and thanked me for enhancing security. Her dead from failed charges SUV was removed from the lot. She struggled with the driver, but it was gone. Her neighbor had made private juice teas. Those sold out in a day. Diane's house grew dark. Her presence, a breath. She had a consultant who came to my fence photographing, but my signs, no trespassing, no charging, kept him at bay. At Diane's last appeal to the HOA, she leveled EV discrimination claims. Nobody had anything to say. Nobody gave a care. I spoke before the local Green Energy Club, one of those speeches about sustainability, not soap operas. They ate it up. Diane's car never reappeared. Her influence extinguished. I mounted her old cable on the wall in my shop as a plaque. Community plug, retired. Neighbors will visit to swap garden produce and computer advice without her stupidity. At the town fair, my exhibit on sustainable living drew a crowd. Diane walked by, head down, glanced at my booth, and said nothing. That night on the back porch in darkness, beneath the stars, my yard was still. No wires, no screaming, just peace. In the end, it was never about power. It was about control. She thought I'd break. Instead, I stood firm, built my traps, and let her unravel.